Hmm. Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. You know that because I started out drinking coffee. Cool cup, huh? Which today is from Kevin's Coffee Roasters in Vernon, Connecticut. I'm drinking Kenyan coffee. It is most delicious. It's strong. It's got a kick. Beats my instant Folgers like you wouldn't believe. All right, today I want to talk to you about man-childs. I know, bear with me. Borders and boundaries. Read an article on The Drudge about that made my head want to explode. So much does these days, which is why I don't listen to talk radio anymore, and I check the news like twice a day now, unless something is happening that's being reported on. It's the first line of the article was something like, "A man is accused of attempted rape of his friend's mother during a sleepover." And I'm thinking, man and sleepover don't belong in that sentence. Men don't sleep over. Hey, Bobby, you want to come over and have a sleepover? Not unless they're homosexuals, right? And a little aside, I realize I'm less than, 2% of the population, probably less than 1% on a bunch of different scales. That boy ain't right. But I decided after my sophomore year in college, so what does that make me? 19, 20? There's no way I'd ever be roommates with a dude. Again, you gotta do it as a dorm guy. Now, granted, did I have to, sleep in the same room with dudes in the army? Yeah, all the time. Um, it's not the same thing. It's not really by choice. I decided then I would get a cruddier apartment for just me than share it with a guy. That's just me. You're a homophobe, Joe. No, I'm a man, and men are kind of, we like our space. And when we want the intimate after dinner company of people, we want it with women, not other dudes. There's probably holes in that. I didn't think that through real big. Let's get back to the story, shall we? So, this man child, this adult male, 18 as it turns out, was having a sleepover with his friend Bobby. I made up Bobby's name. And sometime in the middle of the night, he did force his way into the mom's bedroom, was groping her, trying to rape her. Mom, you gotta like the mom. Pulled a pistol out and said, "Not today, buckwheat." And then reported it to the police, who went to the 18-year-old's house the next day and arrested him, and he cried while he was being arrested. I could go so many ways with the whole man-child thing, but big boys don't cry. Except in very, very specific instances. And then they don't like people seeing it. Move that aside, though. Let's talk about boundaries. I teach women self-defense. And one of the things I tell women to be on the lookout for is negating your no. Example, you're carrying 5 bags, you're walking to a car, here comes this creepy dude with a white beard or whatever. And he goes, "Hey, Sugar Pea, you want me to help you? Here, let me help you with those bags. I'll help you carry them to your car." And you say, "No, thank you, I got it." "No, it's not a problem." And he grabs your bags. You said no, and he totally blew through your no. That's a big problem. That means that person does not respect your no. That is a different response than, "Hey, can I help you with your bags?" And you say, "No, thank you, I got it." And the person says, "Are you sure?" That's not negating your no. That's saying, "Are you sure?" And if you say, "Yes, I'm sure," then at that point, it should be over. But negating your no is blowing right through it. Here, let me help you up the hill. "No, I'm okay." "No, I'll help you." And he grabs you anyway, right, to help you up the hill when you're on a group hike or something. That's negating your no. He doesn't respect your no. And so there was this series of pretty high quality posters, ads, whatever, done by a pro-gun group. And the whole shtick of the posters, and if I could remember what the website was called, I would tell you, but I don't. But the whole shtick was, using people who aren't normally demographics that aren't normally thought of as gun friendly in the ads. So they've got lesbians and homosexual dudes clearly, and women, not tough country girls, but pretty little frail things, all with guns. And I remember, and Hispanics. There were a lot of them with Hispanics and African Americans. And anyway, I remember one that has a woman pointing a gun, big barrel. She's like, and it says, I gotta use both hands now, a no emphasized. I like that. See, the woman has boundaries. She's protecting her boundaries with her gun. I just spoke with another woman the other day, and actually, when that gun gets out there like that, there should be a big flash. Which again, I'm digressing, but never pull out a weapon to try and scare someone, especially if you absolutely need that weapon. You're a much weaker woman, or something like that. If you have the right, more coffee's indicated. If you're lawfully okay with pulling the weapon out, you're lawfully okay with using it. Otherwise, it's called brandishing. Give me my parking place. You can't do that. But if you're in fear for your life, be in fear for your life. Boom, boom. Another digression. And I'm almost out of coffee, but I'm not walking away from y'all. All right. So boundaries, right? Respecting boundaries. You have a yard. I would actually be interested in what size property y'all live on too, because I don't have a good sense for that. There's a lot of you out there, and I don't know how many acres or quarter acres or whatever hectares that you guys are on. I'd be really interested to know what you're sitting on. If you want to comment on that, that would be cool. Quarter acre. I'm in an apartment. Whatever. And if you think that's oversharing, that's cool, but nobody really knows who you are. But, whatever. I respect your boundaries. You have a place, right? Whether you rent it or own it or are buying it from the bank, which is usually the case with most people, you have a place. And there are delineated legal boundaries around that place. And you have the right to control access to those boundaries. Because if you don't, it's not yours. Right? Like if the Girl Scout troop started marching across my field back there just because they felt like it and it's a pretty field full of wildflowers, I have a right to say, excuse me, turn around and go back that way. You do not have permission to be on my property. And if you don't have the right to do that, you don't own it. You can't, if I'm in Central Park, New York, and I've never been there, clearly, I don't think Girl Scout troops go there. Don't get me going on Girl Scout troops. Just go with it. 1950s Girl Scout troop. And they go marching through Central Park back there. Hey, it's all of ours, right? No boundaries, no control. And so I can go a couple different ways. So I guess I'll leave it there and I'll come back and finish it up with you. Make sure I come back and talk about you. For whatever reason, the Democrats who just don't want to agree with anything Trump says or tries to do, and quite frankly, half of the Republicans who are worthless as well, they've got a big issue with his wanting to build a wall and keep illegal aliens, border jumpers, people who are trying to come in illegally, trying to keep them out. They have a problem with that. And I used to listen to Michael Savage on the radio when I worked. It'd be on my commute, and Borders, Language, and Culture, I think. And I've been reading lately a lot about like late Iron Age, medieval age Europe, and that there were kingdoms and Saxony and baronries and all these things going on, and borders were constantly shifting and changing. I control everything you see back here, and you control what's over that hill, and maybe one day we start bumping chests, and one of us ends up with all of it, right? Stuff changes. And since I'm filming this, I end up with all of it. But if you don't control your borders, you don't control the land. And if you don't control your nation's borders, you're not a nation. Now, I could go on a nut, man. I got a lot of tangents today. I woke up this morning not knowing what I was going to talk about, and I've got a couple things to go on. I believe the nation state is on the way out. I actually believe in great, more coffee, in to a large degree, the nation state is already gone. It's just a matrix that you believe you're an American and you're an Australian and you're a Czech and you're a Slovak and dun 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 dun. I think there's people in control of things that look at it significantly differently. Having said that, let's play with the illusion that we're still a nation, because that's what they try to sell us, United States of America. We should be able to control access to who comes and goes. Definitely who comes. And people who can't get on board with that, they're un-American. They don't want what's best for America if they don't want control over the borders. We let in, the United States allows in, this may have changed in the last 3 or 4 years with Europe going nuts, letting all these refugees in. But we allow more people to immigrate legally to the United States than all the other countries combined. So we shouldn't feel guilty. Oh God, that's another thing I'm on. Feeling guilty. Had a long talk with the neo-hermetess who's going to change her name about the concept of man shaming and how I think that's ridiculous. And she brought up the point, feel guilty, that shame is an internal thing. You have to feel ashamed. I can't shame you. If you don't care, it don't matter. Right? Another whole tangent. I could go on that for 20 minutes. I guess I'm not quite over it. I was just shocked at the lack of manliness of adult males out there, and it's just still bugging me. My grandsons are doing just fine. But yeah, if you can't control your borders, you don't really control your country, and you're not in charge of it. And so that's a problem. And so the liberals, and I'm starting to just think of them more as globalists, right? Because there's Republicans in there too, globalists, the non-nation state people. They don't want you to be an American. They want you to be a member of the world, and they can consolidate power even more. Surf. I'm starting on a rant. These people are against enforcing our borders. They're against Europe enforcing their borders. It's like, yep, you got to let the refugees in. They're telling each other, you got to let more refugees in. The heck you do. They don't want to be like you. They don't want to become Norwegians or Germans or French. Who would? Sorry, French. It's just too easy. But they don't want to assimilate. They want to bring their culture and change your culture. So why in the heck should you let them in? Should I let a bunch of, I don't know, who's very much unlike me, so many people. Should I tell, an outlaw motorcycle club, you can use High Prairie Acres for your clubhouse. Just, come and go anytime you want. Set up here, fellas. It's going to kind of change the nature of things here, don't you think? No, not going to do that. And so these globalist elites, Bilderberg's getting ready to meet, they don't want these borders. They want people to be able to come and go as they want. And they get upset, and they're on that side of the issue. Look at Israel. Everybody loves to hate Israel. I am no nation state of Israel lover. I'm not blind. I know what's really going on there. However, let's get real. They're a little nation that until recently was surrounded by people who want them dead and gone. And I think it's going to come back to that. They have huge enemies that are getting stronger. And they don't have any room to retreat. In other words, if you breach their border, their boundary, you're in. It's kind of like when you, at 2 o'clock in the morning, are behind your locked bedroom door, and I know many of you would do different things. Just work with me here. And you hear a noise and you've called 911 and the front door caves in and you hear people rummaging around downstairs and you're on the phone with 911 and you got your shotgun or whatever and you hear them coming up steps and then they breach your bedroom door. You got nowhere to retreat to, right? You're gonna have to fight or die, basically, at that point. Well, that's where Israel is. Israel's country is a bedroom. There, Pastor Joe said it. Take that out of context. They've got nowhere to go. And so they've got to stop people at the border, at the boundary. And so when Hamas, the terrorist organization that is in control in large degree of the Palestinian people, gets them all fired up and says, yeah, let's have a big protest on Israel's border. And oh, by the way, they don't tell them this, but Israel knows they're going to do it. During the chaos of this huge demonstration, we're going to sneak fighters in that are going to create more chaos in Israel. And people get all upset when Israeli soldiers shoot a 19-year-old paramedic or EMT and kill her. Don't be there. Don't go there. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It's not safe. And women and children out there, and now they're flying kites. Actually, it's a brilliant kind of maneuver. They're flying these kites. I need to look up some pictures of them because I don't know what they look like. But they're flying these kites that are on fire that then go over the Israeli side and start these big fires, which create problems for the Israelis. And during the problems, perhaps other things could happen or be done. And, but it's children's toys. You shot a child with his toy, you evil Israeli devil. I'm the guy who would put Bradleys. It's like a armored vehicle with a lot of guns and missiles and stuff on it. I would put Bradleys on our southern border, and I would draw the line very clearly where our border is, and then about 400 yards inside the country, I'd have another line, and when they touch that second line, I'd shoot people. I don't care who they are. I think you'd only have to do it a couple times and people would quit messing with you. There. How could you do that, you evil man? My daughter would hate me. She doesn't watch my videos, so. And I probably wouldn't really do that, but I'd do something like it. Make them think I'm gonna. If you're not gonna protect it, what good is having it? It's like being a parent, and if you're not gonna enforce what you make as rules in your house, there's no sense making a rule. It just makes you weaker. But these people are all against Israel defending their border. It's their border. These same elites wouldn't want me and three of you kitted up to kick in their front door tonight at 2 o'clock in the morning and come into their living room and help ourselves to their refrigerator and then start walking upstairs towards the bedroom to see what's up. They wouldn't like that, would they? Well, that's my house. Yeah, well, this is my house. Same concept. Earth, aliens, which are demons, go with it, aliens. This is our house. You can't come here unless we invite you in, and then you got to leave when we tell you to. Right? Same concepts. So don't, and I don't think most of you do, but it's interesting to see the people who line up against Israel's reaction to the demonstrations. They're trying to illegally get in the country. They're telling them stop. They're not stopping. They're bringing soldiers and tanks and jeeps and everything there. It's clear what's going to happen if you keep walking. And yet they keep walking. And people get killed. Don't care. So let's bring it back to you. We've been going long enough, 19 minutes. World without rule of law. Chaos. Ain't no cops coming to your place for whatever reason because they're all guarding the Walmart Supercenter and their own police headquarters and they're trying to get the mayor out. Ain't no cops coming to you. Bad guys are going to figure that out pretty quick. Criminals are quick to criminal. You've got boundaries. You've got borders. Your first one is your person, right? What are you going to do to protect that? Your next one is the room you're in. The next one is your house. The next one is your yard. And I asked you all how, I am kind of interested just for my own, it's not like I take notes. How much land is the average Viking on out here? But you've got your place, right? And then quite frankly, if you do one of the other things I beat the drum about, get with your community, then your community's got its boundaries. So it's in that type of situation. It's in a situation where there is no law and order. There's not going to be any for a while. What do you do? What are you willing to do to protect your border, your boundary? Calling 911 won't work. That's out. Ain't coming. And people are violating your border. What are you going to do? Does it depend on how they're violating your border? To a small degree, but don't allow yourself to go too far into La La Land tangent. The locusts are the locusts. How far are you willing to go to protect your boundaries and borders? That's the thought for today. All right, I'll see you out there.